We have a major Kyle Connor injury update following the hit from Nikita Kucherov in yesterday night's game. We have a big update on his front. We're also going to discuss the Jets in general, their look ahead, and some interesting things surrounding this team and is what made them so successful going forward. Stay tuned for all that on this episode. But before we get into it, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. If you're part of the 70 or so percent who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jets coverage. Now, Darius, there's a lot to go over today. Obviously, the Winnipeg Jets are in a very good spot right now. They are 11-1. They've been the team everybody's talking about, and yesterday was a phenomenal game. They obviously took care of business, but something that's very interesting was the injury. And obviously, Kyle Connor at this point in time, we have an injury update in his front. So you can see again, he took a hard hit from behind from Kucherov and hits his face, and he smoked his face. Now, we're worried about whether it was going to be a concussion, whiplash, whatever it was. But all signs, you guys let me know in the comment section as well. All signs point to him being okay. So NHL Jets coach Scott Arniel said Kyle Connor was pulled by concussion, spotted after taking headshot from Kucherov. Says everything checked out and he's fine. Still can't believe that wasn't a penalty. Awful game from the guys in stripes. And we can dive into that a little bit here. But yeah, Darius, very big news, especially, and we'll dive into it later in the video. The schedule that they have ahead is looking a little bit rough, very difficult. They started off good and started off hot against a very good Tampa Bay Lightning team. But the fact that Kyle Connor is okay, they dodged a major, major bullet here. It could have been a concussion. It could have been worse. And we've seen a rise around the league, and they're trying to get rid of these hits to the head and things like that. So the fact the penalty wasn't called was ludicrous. But I'll leave that aside for a second. Kyle Connor is going to be okay, and he's been arguably the Jets' best player this season.
I think he has been the Jets' best player this season because at times Connor Hellebuck, he's looked great, but at times, like last night, he's looked shaky as well. But Kyle Connor, I think he's been the Jets' best player. And like you said, they're trying to get rid of head hits in the game, but this wasn't even a head hit. This was just straight up a hit from behind. It's a bad hit. It's a bad play. Kucherov knows exactly what he's doing. There's a bit of bad luck on the play too because he hits his head off Eric Cernak's head as well because of the positioning of the players. But this is a player who's not expecting to get hit from behind because you're not supposed to get hit from behind. So it's just an awful play. It absolutely should have been a penalty, and the Jets could have put this game away much sooner than they did. But thankfully, like we mentioned, he was pulled from the game, but just because of the concussion spotter, and he is fine. He's going to be fine and should play for the Jets in their next game. So that is good news for the Jets. But in talking about Kyle Connor, 19 points in 12 games to start the year so far this year. He extended his franchise record season opening point streak to 12 games. And you know what? They have some tough opponents coming up, and we'll get to that shortly. But the way he's playing, the way he's scoring, I'm not sure this is going to end anytime soon. Yes, the Jets might lose a game. They already have this season, and they, might lose a game coming up here. But Kyle Connor, he is on fire to start the year, and there's no signs that he's going to stop. He has been fantastic.
Yeah, and for the Jets to win like they've been winning, or any team for that matter, you need to have some guys step up. And you can see this here again, Kyle Connor. He's unbelievable. And again, he's extending his franchise record point streak to 12 games. The only player to post a longer run at any time this season was, of course, Patrick Laine, which is a funny tribute to him. But yeah, I mean, he's playing great. He's playing like the player that we knew he could be, and he has been to a degree. Again, he's always been a phenomenal player for the Jets for the past handful of seasons. But it was whether or not, again, they lost a couple guys in free agency. No one really too important to their actual core. Obviously, again, I've mentioned Sean Monahan, Tyler Foley. Both of those guys came at the deadline. They didn't really add too much. So the question coming into the season was, will the Jets be able to compete with the team that they had? Will Cole Perfetti be able to take the next step? Will Kyle Connor be able to sustain the play or get better? And he's actually gotten better than he has in previous years. And whether that's because of the new coach, whether that's just because of everybody playing well together, whether that's Perfetti, Scheifele, Connor, Ehlers, all these guys, Adam Lowry, they're all blending well. And again, we talk about their blue line so much. Credit has to go to Kyle Connor here. He has been phenomenal. He almost single-handedly brought them back in their only loss against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were down as much as 4-0. He brought them back with a hat trick. So a lot of positives to take from every single game. And even in the loss against the Leafs, there was positives to take. And Kyle Connor has shown he's capable of carrying the Winnipeg Jets to wins, or almost carrying in the sense of the Leafs game. But he has the ability. He's that good of a goal scorer. And the Jets have so many threats between Ehlers, Scheifele, Kyle Connor that the team is terrifying to play against.
Yeah, and they have so many scoring threats that are, they're their best players, and they are playing like their best players right now and getting it done, finding ways to win. And like you mentioned, the only loss against the Toronto Maple Leafs, not for lack of trying, right? He scored a hat trick in that game, so he has been fantastic. When you look at the Jets in general this season, I mean, first in everything, not just record, of course. 11-1 on the season, but they are first in wins, in points, winning percentage, power play percentage, which is a 44.1% right now, which is insane. They're scoring at almost half the time they're on the power play, which is crazy. First in goals for, first in goal differential at plus 29, which is crazy as well. And they're finding different ways to win each night. I think that's the most exciting part for Jets fans right now because, even going down 2-0 against the Tampa Bay Lightning or going into overtime, they're finding ways to win. So it has been really good for the Winnipeg Jets so far this season. But we can get into now the, Winnipeg Jets schedule coming up because it is an interesting one. And a lot of people have been saying, the Jets had an easy schedule to start the year. That's kind of what's out there right now. And I think, Jets fans are saying, what are you talking about? We've won 11 games, 11 of 12 here to start the year. That's a bit crazy to say, but it is true to a degree that they do have some tough opponents coming up. I mean, Utah, the Jets should be able to handle them. But Nick, I am curious about your thoughts on the schedule coming up because there are some interesting matchups there with some pretty good teams high in the standings in the league. But the Jets are on a roll right now. They look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Utah, solid team, probably their easiest one over the next handful of games. And you play the Avalanche, Stars, Rangers, Lightning, Panthers. Like it gets really difficult. And the thing is, will they be able to sustain? Again, you don't have to win every single game. They don't have to have a 96, 97 win percentage to, be a great team. But if they can go out over the next 10 or so games and even go 7-3, 6-4, then that shows a lot. If they go out and they struggle mightily against all these teams, then the people on the side of the easy schedule, which schedule wasn't all that easy, they still managed to get wins, and every team is an NHL caliber team. So it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty rough schedule going forward. But I like on the screenshot that you had up before this one.
Yep.
It's the way that they're playing that is the differential for this team. I mean, yeah, they're first in wins, points, winning percentage. That is great. We all know that. First in the power play, first in goals for, and in goals differential. What that does, it says it kind of the peripherals here are saying that this is a sustainable way to win. You're scoring on the power play almost 50% of the time. You're able to play great defense with a great goal differential, and you're scoring the puck obviously a ton with 59 goals for. So you have one of the best goal scorers in the NHL. You have everything. You see this here. Through 12 games, the Jets are averaging almost 5 goals a game. Hasn't happened since the 90 or the 87-88 season. So it's sustainable. The way they're playing is sustainable. Every single advanced analytic backs it up. This team is they're a wagon, and I think that if you're a fan of the Jets or if you're a fan of the NHL in general, it's a team to keep an eye on. And with that schedule, they're going to have hard games, but I think they're going to be able to. I think they're going to be able to take care of business against a lot of those teams. They probably won't go undefeated in the next 5-10 games, but they're going to put up a good win percentage. And again, they've won a couple games now with Connor Hellebuck being shaky.
Yeah, and like Pierre LeBrun says here at the end of the tweet, we do expect some regression coming for the Jets, right? But at the same time, like you mentioned, these stats speak for themselves, right? They have been very good, and it is a sustainable way to win hockey games so far. But the next stretch of games, this is going to tell you what the Winnipeg Jets are made of, right? Like there's a couple tough games in here. Home and home with the Florida Panthers. You're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning in there again. Obviously, they want revenge after last game. You're playing the Rangers, who are tops in the league. The Stars are tops in the league, right? The Avalanche have a couple injuries, but they're still a very good team. Minnesota Wild are off to a hot start this year, right? So couple interesting matchups there for sure. But the way the Jets are playing, I'm not sure people should expect them to lose too many of these games. They're playing really well, but this stretch is going to tell you what this team is made of.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are on this. At least we have some positive news regarding Kyle Connor as well. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you aren't already. See you guys later.